Today, we are going to go through this simple budget planner and how we use it. Let's go. The page you are looking at now is called a worksheet. They're also often referred to as just sheets or pages or tabs. The sheets are all contained within this spreadsheet, which can also be called a workbook. At the bottom of each workbook, we have these tabs, and these tabs are the different pages. And we can create a tab for each month of the year. And the guide will show you how to do that. The first thing we are going to do is to create our first page. Now you can see this first page here is blank, and this tab name is MM_YY. So that's for month, year. And you have two options before we start. You can duplicate this blank page, and then we will fill that in to be your first month for budgeting. Or if you have a lot of recurring bills each month, you might want to complete this first and then duplicate it, so you only have to make minor changes for the following month. It's entirely up to yourself how you do that. But what we will do is leave this MMYY as our blank template. The first thing that we are going to do is we're going to copy our blank template and create our first month for our budget. So all we do, we come down to the tab at the bottom of the page, and then we simply right click to bring up our context menu, and then we select move or copy. Now we get the menu pop up to ask us what it is we want to do. So we're going to tick the box to create a copy, and then we want to move it to the end. So the order of the tabs are from left to right. So when we copy this, it will be placed to the right of MMYY. So now we've got move to end highlighted, we simply click OK. That will create a copy of our MMYY template, and you can see it is here, MMYY with the number 2 in brackets. You cannot have two tabs of the exact same name, and that is why the number 2 has been added to the end. So all we need to do to rename that is to again right click on it, and this time instead of choosing move or copy, we're simply going to select rename, and you can see all of the text is highlighted, so we can type in the name we want to call it. The naming convention you use is entirely up to yourself. You could do 0125 for the January 25 or Jan_25. Whatever you feel more comfortable with is what you can call them. So for this purpose, I'm just going to call it Feb, and then an underscore, and then 25. So for me, that's February 2025. The last step we need to complete to finish off the setup is to add any currencies that you want to use that are not available in the select currency drop down box. So if you click on this down arrow, you will see we have the UK pound, we have the euro, and we have the dollar. If there are any currencies you would like to use that aren't in that list, we simply go over to the currencies tab, click on that, and then in this list, we can add any of the currencies that we would like to use. One important point is to make sure that you add your desired currency in the next available cell. You don't want to add it, in this example, at number 5, because that would leave a gap at number 4. If you leave a gap, it will not show up in the drop-down list. So all we do is we'll add our currency in here. And then if we return back to our budget spreadsheet for February the 25, you can see when we choose the drop-down, we now have the yen available as our list of available currencies. We are now ready to start using the simple budget planner. So first of all, we'll select the month and the year that this budget applies to. So we're going to start with February 25. And then the currency for this example, we're going to use dollars. Now we've selected all of that. You can see the spreadsheet is numbered. So at number 1, we put in our income. At number 2, we have the advised savings for the 833 club. Number 3 is where we have our future planning. Number 4 is where we enter all of our essentials. Number 5 is where we enter our subscriptions. Number 6 is for one-off payments. And number 7 is our payment quick view. Number 8 is the outgoings categorized by all of the sections we've just spoke about. Number 9 is my money, how much is left over once all of the budget items have been covered. We'll go through each section in detail. Okay, we're going to start with section 1, which is our income. Here we will put all money that comes into our account. We'll start with our salary. We're going to enter the monthly amount. And then if you have any other income streams, this is where you would add it. And you can see that it gives us the grand total of our income. And then currently, if you look over at section 9, that tells us how much money we have remaining because we have not entered any outgoings yet. So that is section 1 complete. Next, we have section 2, which is the 833 Club Advised Savings. It calculates the percentage of your income that you should put away in your savings using the pay yourself first principle. And then what you do is you add in this box here the amount you have actually saved. So you can put away the exact amount, which is in the advised box. You can put away more or less. If possible, put away at least the amount shown in the advised savings cell. So we enter how much we actually managed to save, and then you will see that we start building up the pie chart. Next, we move on to section 3, which is our future planning. The main difference between future planning and the 833 Club is that in future planning, this is putting some money towards something that we know we are going to be buying, or a bill we know we have coming up, where the 833 Club is our long-term saving strategy, where we don't plan to use that money, but we would in case of an emergency. So in this instance, we're going to start planning for Christmas, and I'm going to be putting away $150 each month to go towards my Christmas fund. And that's money I know that I'm going to spend. Next, we move on to section 4, which is our essentials. So this is where we enter all of our bills and all of our outgoings, which are essential and we have to pay each month. I'm going to start with the mortgage. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the date that that payment is due. And then once I've put that date in, which is the date of the 15th, you will see our payment quick view in section 7 that starts to calculate what amounts are due on each day of the month to again help us with our financial planning. So by the time we complete the simple budget planner, we will have a very quick view of all our outgoing payments and how much is going out on each day. So I'll complete the rest of these essential outgoings. Now you can see that we have this section complete, and we can see the total for the month, and we can see each due date. We can see how much money needs to be paid on each day of the month, and it also shows you today's date. So today is the 9th. The 9th is now highlighted in yellow, and still to pay this month. That is a calculation of everything that is left to pay from the highlighted date going forward. So if we come and open this spreadsheet again tomorrow, the 10th will be highlighted, and then anything from the 10th onwards will be totaled in this cell here. So that gives us an idea wherever we are in the month, how much we have left to come out of our bank or how much we have left to pay. And it does that for all of these sections. It's not just for the essentials section. Each section, number 5, subscriptions, number 6, one-off payments, they all have due dates. All of that is added up, and it tells us on each day of the month how much we need to pay and how much overall we still have left to pay for that month. The next section we're going to complete is number 5, subscriptions. And this is a separate category because a lot of people are often surprised by how many subscriptions they actually have. And again, we're going to put in the date it is due. So we put in the name of the subscription, the regular payment amount, in this case it's monthly, and the due date due on the 12th. And the idea is to go through your bank statement, go through your card statements, and pick out all of your regular subscriptions and then enter them all in here. So now that they have all been entered, you can see our total amount is 142.80 each month on subscriptions, and we've entered all of the due dates, so they are all added to our payment quick view. And this is an ideal opportunity to review all of your subscriptions and see if you do really need them. In some cases, you may have subscriptions that you no longer use and you just haven't got around to cancelling the subscription, and now is a good opportunity to do that. The next section we're going to fill in is the one-off payments, and that's section number 6. Now, one-off payments are different from our 833 club savings and different from our future planning. They are all savings schemes where this one is a one-off payment that we know is due within this budget period, and it's not a recurring payment. So in this instance, the car is due for service. I know that's going to go in later in the month. I spoke to the garage. I know exactly how much that is going to cost. And it's going in on the 18th. And if you look on our date down here on the 18th, currently that's 21.50. Soon as I press enter to enter the 18th date, you can see the 18th has now gone up to 176.50. So it's now being added to our payment quick view. So that is our budget complete for the month of February 25. And as I mentioned earlier, you could now right click on February 25. You could then move a copy. You could create a copy of February 25, and then it would be created after February, as long as we highlight move to end. Make sure that you tick create a copy, because otherwise it won't actually make a copy, it will just move it. And since we've said move to end, nothing will happen. So we can just click OK. So the points to remember are move to end highlighted, create a copy is selected, then we click OK, and then it creates February 25, 2 in brackets, with all of our funds already entered. Then we can simply choose March if we're going to plan for next month. We can come down, we can right click on the actual name of the tab. We can click rename, so that's a left click on rename. And then when it's highlighted, I'm going to call it March _ 25. And that's my March budget already complete. The car was serviced in February, so I'm just going to highlight that and then delete. And then I've got no one-off payments due in March. So this is my budget already completed for March. But we'll go back to February to finish off the tutorial. So now we are back in March. We can see we have our payment quick view. This shows us how much is going to be due on each of the days of the month, how much we still have left to pay this month, and what today's date is. We then have a pie chart of all of our outgoings, so we can see what our money is being spent on. And then down here, we have our outgoing table, or our outgoings table. So the numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 relate to the sections here. And then this gives us a total for each of those sections. This gives us a grand total. And on the right hand side, we have our percentages. So you can see here that 52.2% of our income is being spent on essentials. This gives us a grand total of 76.3% of our income is going on outgoings. In section 9, possibly our favourite part of the budget, depends on the number in here, tells us how much money is left over for the rest of that month for anything that you have not added to the budget. So that's for any expenses you want to spend it on. And you can see here we have $674.10, which is 23.7% of our income. And that is money we can spend as we see fit, because we know all of our bills are covered within the budget. What is the 8-3-3 Club? The idea behind the 8-3-3 Club is that you save by putting yourself first. It's a well-known saving strategy, and the idea behind it is that instead of what a lot of people do, is where they pay all their bills, then they pay all of their outgoings, then they see how much they have left over. At that point, they'll decide how much they should save or how much they would like to save. This process of paying yourself first works in the opposite method. So when you get paid, the very first thing you do is decide how much you would like to save, and then you put that money away in a separate pot or a different bank account, but you pay yourself first before you pay any other bill. And what that will teach you over time is to treat your savings like a bill, like an expenditure, and you'll get into the habit of putting money away before you pay any other bills. A lot of people think that you should pay yourself first just any amount and you can't afford to pay your bills. That is not the intention. The intention is to work out a certain percentage or a set amount you can afford to save each month, and then you put that amount away before you pay any of your bills. A lot of time, if you do it the other way around, where you pay all your bills and then you see how much you get left over, you might go for an extra meal, you might go for an extra night out, you might treat yourself to something nice, and before you know it, you've got nothing left to save. So this way around, you save your money first, and then anything you have left over, after you've paid all of your bills and all of your outgoings, you can spend it on what you like, in the nice, safe knowledge that you've already made your savings. So why is it called the 8-3-3 Club? The reason behind that is that I think you should be able to work for 1 month of each year and have all of the money for yourself. In order to do that, you would have to put away 8.33% of every salary payment you receive if you work on the basis that you get paid once a month. So you get paid 12 times in each year. So if you can save 8.33% of every salary payment for 1 year, that means for 1 month of every single year that you work, all of that money is just for you. And hence the name, the 8-3-3 Club.